Excellent. So real quick, again, silent auction. We are funding 2 scholarships for Millersville students with the proceeds, so please take a look back there. Obviously, food and drink as you like. To my speakers, everybody that's going to be coming up here, I will be introducing you and calling you to the podium. You have 2 minutes. 2 actual minutes, 120 seconds, and it's not that we don't love you, but that there are a lot of people and we got to keep it moving. And now's my opportunity, and I'll keep this brief. I think it was Lancaster City Mayor Richard J. Gray once said to me that if you ask a politician to give a speech, you're going to get a political speech. So here's mine. As you know, I'm a councilman in the city of Lancaster, which couldn't have happened without my mother and without my brother. And in particular, I am proud to support the work of organized labor generally and unions specifically. And that's not just political, it is personal. As you know, 10 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of breast cancer, and I have seen the families whose time with their parents was cut short because they couldn't afford a certain kind of treatment. My mother's insurance has provided her with the best treatment and the best specialist, and that was secured for her and maintained through multiple labor negotiations by APSCUF. So I want to go ahead and thank the union for letting me get to know my mother as an adult, for giving me 10 more years that I would not have otherwise had. And Mom always made that clear, was that in this country, people without benefits who get sick suffer and they die. And that doesn't have to happen. So, you know, like I said, Mom has always really driven home how important unions are from a young age. On the other hand, Io and I have been trying to unionize for 6 months, and she's not having any of it. All right. Like I said, testament to the number of people whose lives our dear mother has touched, please allow me to introduce the Millersville University Alumni Gospel Choir, who will be setting the tone for this evening. Take it away, guys.
to her students and, of course, to the community. At this time, we're going to ask if there are any alum out here. We're going to sing the alma mater. We want to invite you all to come up here and sing. You know who you are. So come up here and help us sing.
Oh no, keep clapping. Keep clapping. Truly incredible, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So now we're moving into the testimonials portion of the evening, where we're just going to go ahead and allow some invited speakers who will be keeping to their 2-minute time frame to go ahead and just offer their thoughts on my mother's life. So obviously we have a couple of celebrities in the room tonight. Some of them a little more intriguing than others. This man has been feted and talked about in Lancaster online, at Lancaster newspapers. And of course, you all know him as your new president, Dr. Daniel Wuba. Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your introduction. I'm going to be very brief. It is a distinct pleasure for me to get this opportunity to stand in front of you to say just a few words about Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell. I had the opportunity to spend 30 minutes with her last month, and I think it's one of the most powerful times that I've spent on this campus. There is a saying that if you want to know a person's character, ask people who know him or her. And when I arrived on this campus on July 1st, as part of my getting to know this campus, one of my goals was to ask about who are the key people on this campus to know. And invariably, out of 10 people, 9 of them always mentioned Dr. Rita's name. It says a whole lot about her. And it is a distinct honor and privilege for me to get a chance to stand in front of you today to basically say I'm very, very proud and honored to be at this institution when Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell is here. The last thing I would say is, in life, we often ask ourselves that what is our purpose? There is no one in this room who has never asked him or herself that question. And often when you ask that question, if you can answer it by saying, my purpose in life is to touch other people's life positively, your work is done. And almost everyone with whom I spoke about Dr. Waddell always said that she has touched people's lives. And that says a lot. This room is a testimony of what she has done for other people. Let's give her a hand. I just want to, this is not going to be a reading, it's just a couple of comments about mentorship, which she's done a lot about. One of our greatest philosophers said, we are here for a reason. I believe a bit of the reason is to throw light touches out to lead people through the dark. Dr. Waddell has led a lot of people through the dark. And the last thing I would say before I get off this stage, because I know there are a lot of people coming after me, is that in life, it is not what you get, but it is what you give. And that exemplifies the life of Dr. Rita Waddell. Thank you very much for everything you've done for this institution and everyone who has come to contact with you. Thank you.
All right, you're going to be seeing a lot of me this afternoon. Moving right along, we have Dr. Christine Philippone, the new director of the Millersville University Gender and Women's Studies Department. Did I get that right? Excellent, please.
Hi, everyone. I first met Rita, I think, in an advising session run by Academic Advising. I didn't meet her formally. Instead, after the session, I asked who she was because to say she dominated the meeting would be putting it mildly. I encountered her next in my art history classrooms, not because she was physically present, rather when students made especially astute, cogent observations about questions of race or social justice in relation to works of art, I would say, very good. How did you reach that conclusion? And they would invariably answer, I took a class with Dr. Waddell. Eventually, I would just say to those students, excellent. Did you take a class with Dr. Waddell? And typically the answer was yes. I first worked with Rita in my capacity as coordinator of Women's and Gender Studies. Our curriculum committee decided to bring as our annual guest speaker California Senator Kamala Harris, another woman of color who, like Rita, knows how to speak truth to power. The question was how to reach her. First, I tried sending an innocuous message through her Facebook page to no effect. But through Rita's many contacts, including a former student, Representative Jordan Harris, we put an email in front of Senator Harris within days. I'll keep you all posted. On behalf of the Women's and Gender Studies program, I extend to Rita my thanks for her commitment to social justice. She is an example for us all, for her help in shaping the Women's and Gender Studies program. And I want her to know how terribly, terribly she will be missed. When a force of nature departs, it leaves devastation in its wake. Thank you.
So the title Master of Ceremonies is deceiving. It implies that I am in charge in some way. That's not the case. So I've been told to remind you that, of course, you can move to the back. Of course, we want to encourage you to check out the silent auction in the back. So now we have an alumna from 1980, a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, Denise Chandler. Denise? Can I? Am I allowed to? Okay. Okay, we have a little switch. Right now we have, you're class of 18?
Sabre Baker. I graduated.
Yeah. Sabre Baker, class of 2018, also a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, will be speaking first. Thank you.
Soror Rita Smith Waddell exemplifies everything a woman of Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated embodies. As the active campus advisor for the Lambda Gamma chapter for many years, she has instilled in us and those before us in Delta the importance of representing not only yourself, but our community at large. She has dedicated herself by giving countless hours of academic, programmatic, and personal advising, not only to us, her younger sorors, but to all students who either sat in her class or ventured into her office. Although her teaching journey has come to an end here at Millersville University, the life lessons we were lucky enough to learn from Rita along the way will transcend in our hearts and our lives forever. The Lambda Gamma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated, from our bottom of our hearts, thanks you, soror, for everything you have done for us in your service. And as our soror, Nikki Giovanni, once said, "Now everything I do because I want to. and I believe the best is yet to come. Thank you.
She is a woman, tall as a cypress, strong beyond all definition, defying time and place and circumstance, assailed, impervious, indestructible. When we look upon you, we are renewed. Rita, today we celebrate you. We celebrate you for the many hats you've worn across many years and for all the lives you've touched. We celebrate your kindness, your steadfastness. We celebrate the doors that you knocked down so that others could walk through. We celebrate the commitment that you've made to this Millersville community, this Millersville family, as well as Lancaster and across the state of Pennsylvania, actually internationally. Your name precedes you. So on behalf of the Lancaster Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority and the undergraduates here at Millersville, we proclaim today, celebrating Rita Day. So I stand on behalf of Deltas, countless Deltas everywhere, to thank you for representing us so beautifully. We love you, Rita.
All right, y'all. I, as it turns out, have a lot of family in this room. Obviously, I've got my mother, I've got my brother, but I've also got quite a few adopted older and younger sisters and brothers all over the room. You know who you are. But want to give a particular shout out to our next speaker, who is the only person on the planet still allowed to call me Ishi. My big brother, president of the Lancaster branch NAACP, Mr. Blanding Watson.
Thank you, Ishi. Greetings, everyone. On behalf of the Lancaster branch of the NAACP and the Pennsylvania State Conference of Branches, we are honored to be here today to give tribute to a woman who has given so much of herself to students, faculty, and to the community, and to every cause of social justice that aligns with her personal missions and the same missions of the NAACP, which she serves as first vice president of a Lancaster branch of the NAACP. Dr. Smith Waddell, or Rita, as we affectionately call her, embodies the true definition of a leader, mentor, educator, and mother, and personal friend. Her willingness to serve as a volunteer and servant is second to none. She especially goes the extra mile for many in this community and throughout Lancaster and the state, and especially our youth. Dr. Smith is a pioneer in civil rights, African American studies, psychology, and especially in education. As a master in data and outcomes, she challenges everyone to do better at all times. Rita has always stood by me through good and bad times. Even as she struggled to battle cancer, she always found the strength to step in to help everyone. Rita taught me how to persevere through struggles and through many rough times as being a young leader in the local branch over the years, and is an excellent mentor to me. We had awarded throughout the years awards that Rita have given to graduating high school and NAACP Freedom Fund galas. She's always supported and pushed for scholarships and anything related to education for our young people.
Additionally, she was also an advocate for many social justice issues that affect people of color in Lancaster community and throughout the state, and with the same eagerness to challenge the world to be a better place. We are here today to invest in that legacy of Dr. Smith. We thank you very much, Rita, for all that you have done for us. And everyone, can we just please stand and give this wonderful woman a hand? Thank you so much, Rita. And thank you, everyone.
In keeping with the theme and reminding us all that my mother was indeed is indeed a tireless champion for the rights of people of color and all people everywhere, I would next like to invite up Leah Ferguson, who will graduate in 2020, who is a member of the NAACP College chapter here at Millersville University. Leah, are you president? Oh, see, I just took away her title like that. Y'all can't let me do that. President of the Millersville of the Millersville University NAACP. Oh, you got a cheering section. Okay.
Good afternoon. I would just like to start off for saying that on the behalf of the Millersville chapter here at Millersville University, and for the students who had the pleasure of having Rita in her class, I had the pleasure of meeting Rita before I was technically a Millersville student. It was admitted students day, and actually, I didn't have her class until my sophomore year. But when I met Rita, when you meet a person like Rita, she's the person that right off the bat, she has a passion that's in her heart for doing what's right for her people. And that's one thing that I would like to say that she has taught me, and I as well, I'm pretty sure many other students on campus. She's been that resource and that person for all of us on this campus to, like, if you talk to somebody, like, oh, you gotta talk to Rita because she would know what to do. She has a passion for her people, a passion for leadership, and a passion for guidance. And I had the pleasure of having her as an advisor, having her for not only one, but 2 classes, and just having her in the psych department when I was a psych major. So on the behalf of NAACP's Millersville chapter and the other students, I would just like to say thank you for your passion of leadership and guidance and for knowing what's right. Thank you.
So, just as I said, I have a lot of siblings in this room. I also have a lot of, we'll call them erstwhile co-parents. It was just my mom when Io and I were growing up, just the 3 of us for the most part. And so I very much was raised by a variety of Millersville faculty, especially the professors of the psychology department, who were nice enough to keep me out of trouble or just watch me get in trouble while Mother was teaching class. So next I would like to invite up Dr. Fred Foster Clark, who is a professor in the psychology department. You keep letting me take away people's handles. He is the chair of the psychology department currently.
Good afternoon. It's a privilege to bring greetings to all assembled from the psychology department. First, I want to thank the many people who made this event possible, including our own Keisha Patterson, who's worked tirelessly to support this event and to support Rita generally over many years. Keisha may be right at the top of Rita's speed dial list. Rita has taught in the psychology department since 1983. There are only a couple of active faculty who predate her at Millersville University, and no one in the psychology department. We are proud to call her a colleague and friend. She and I have been colleagues for 29 years, but I won't claim that friendship came right away. You see, I really didn't know quite what to make of Rita for some years after arriving at Millersville. I imagine some here probably share that sentiment. My reaction to Rita was probably somewhere between awe and fear. But I soon learned to respect and value Rita immensely. Our work together in revising the Gen Ed curriculum and adding the cultural diversity and community requirement, more typically called the D requirement, when we collaborated quite closely, was probably the turning point in our relationship. My fondness and respect for Rita has only grown over the years. I want to share just a few personal reflections about Rita that in part I've collected from members of the psychology faculty, both present and past. They're only a small representation of the thoughts and emotions we collectively hold. And it's a smaller list because Ishmael's only given me 2 minutes. Rita's made us proud, like when she carried the mace to lead the graduation ceremony. Rita has amazed us by her energy and passion as she continued her full load of teaching, advising, mentoring, and research with students while making trips into Philadelphia for treatment for her multiple cancers over many years. She left us awestruck, like when she began her 2 online summer courses the same day she came out of brain surgery. We admire her fierce commitment to the people and principles for which she is passionate. We admire her industry. But most of all, we admire her keen intellect and vast knowledge base, her ability to engage and teach students, and her deep and abiding commitment beyond all else to the well-being and development of the oh so many students whose lives she's touched in profound ways. For this, we are all deeply grateful. Thank you, Rita.
So by my count, you've listened to about 7 speeches so far. So we thought we'd break it up for you a little bit. So as many of you know, October 1st is my mother's birthday, and it will be Dr. Rita Smith Waddell's 70th birthday. And that is 2 weeks from now. Yes, yes. And that is 2 weeks from now, but we are all here gathered around her right now. So would you, by clapping, hooting, hollering, signal your willingness to sing happy birthday to this woman? All right, all together right now. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rita. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Oh, we singing the black version now, okay. Wow. Birthday. Day to you. obviously by the black version. I mean the Stevie Wonder version, and as you all did, white people are welcome to sing along. Thank you. So Dr. Foster Clark did mention that my mother has been here since 1983, which is 35 years, and in fact, before I was born. And there are thousands of students who have passed through my mother's classes, hundreds of whom are here today. There is one gentleman here who was my mother's student from the beginning and graduated in 1986, 32 years ago. And just as a testament to the kind of person she is here to speak to her and to honor her today. Mr. Arthur Jordan, alumni 1986, please.
Oh my God. I gotta take this home with me. I'm deeply honored on behalf of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated to be here this evening to speak on behalf of Dr. Rita Smith. Time flies, I guess, when you're having fun. It was 1983 when I first met Rita. And actually, I was on my way to class. It was a Psychology 100 class over here in Byerly Hall. And I didn't know who she was because she was a new professor, but I remember she was running late. She had a bag in one hand, all these papers and books. She's running up the stairs and she shoots into the class. She's putting on one shoe and getting ready to teach the class. And I was like, wow, this is going to be an interesting semester. So, but Rita's always been a ball of fire, and I think the greatest thing about her is that she's always stepped in and done anything she could do for any student. But for 5 students back in 1983 who were establishing a fraternity for the first time, another fraternity for the first time here at Millersville University, we needed an advisor. And Millersville was a lot different than it is now. That was a little harder task than what we thought it would be. But I came to Rita and without hesitation, signed on the dotted line, she was going to be our advisor. So she would be happy to know out of the original 5 of us and the other 14 of us, 12 have all graduated from college, 11 from Millersville and 3 from other institutions. And we all have agreed it was based on her inspiration. And partly we were scared not to be successful as well. Rita has just been the most brilliant woman I have ever encountered, even to this day, in my life. I speak a lot of times to other organizations and to younger people, and I use my experiences and things that I've learned from Miss Rita Smith Waddell. So it brings me great pleasure, great joy to wish her the best and to let you know that actually I got my final text from all 8 of us, and everyone said to make sure that you let her know we still don't quite understand how someone as brilliant and as talented has been able to get as far as you have, and we still to this day cannot read any of your handwriting. But thank you very much, and you all have a great evening.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, a couple of quick announcements before we move on to the next remark. Like I said, feel free to move around, but do me 2 favors. If you're out there Try to keep the conversations to a dull roar so we can hear the speakers. Just to a dull roar, much appreciated. And then if you're up here, do try to lean into the microphone. You've got good stuff to say, and we want to hear it. Speaking of good things to say, learning and listening, my mother has taught in the psychology department the entire time that she's been here, but she also founded the African American Studies minor. So she found herself in 2 colleges here at the university and with 2 deans. So welcoming the first of those 2 deans would Dean George Drake of the Millersville School of Education, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Rita. It's awfully good to see you. I want to spend my 2 minutes, now a minute 55, just to reflect a little bit on reflect a little bit on Rita, but also I want to tell a funny story. No one really has told funny stories yet. You want to hear a funny story? All right. So I think it was upstairs in the NPR of this building. It was one of the many wonderful speakers that Rita has brought to our campus. And as she was wont to do, she took the podium to ask everyone to, welcome our guest with wonderful applause, but also admonished everyone in the audience to turn off their phones. And then she came back to her seat and I was sitting next to her in the front row, and she hadn't been seated for 5 seconds when her own phone rang. Do you remember that? Yeah. That's not as if that's never happened to the rest of us, though, so. All right, I've only been at Millersville for 3 years, and when I learned that when I received an offer to come here from that large sister institution to the east, I have to tell you that Rita's reputation preceded her. I already knew, or thought I knew, the woman that is Rita Smith Waddell. And I think once I got here, I realized that everything I heard about her was true. She has been a strident supporter of student success. She has been a champion for social justice and for making or helping this community to become the kind of inclusive community that we all want it to be. And so we thank you. We have you to thank for that over the many years that you've been here, Rita. Thank you very much. Right. You've also been a rather rigorous and engaging college teacher, and I think that that is evidenced by all the students who are here today. I think they would agree with that's the case. We've also learned a great deal about, or a great deal from you, from all the speakers that you've brought to us over the years to help us to engage with some thoughts that were important for us to think about and to talk about. As I mentioned, you've contributed to the kind of inclusive community that we strive to be. But I think most importantly, you have led us and helped us learn by your example. And I think that will be your legacy for this institution. If we could all operate by the example that you have set, I think we would be the better for it. So, Rita, on behalf of the faculty, students, and staff of the College of Education and Human Services, we wish you the very best, and we love you. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, as I said, Mom founded the minor in African American Studies here at Millersville University, which put some of her most notable classes in the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. So, to honor her from that angle, I would like to welcome Dean Ieva Zache of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences and the immediate previous dean of that school, Dr. Diane Umble.
All right. Can you hear me? They're kind of loud over there, aren't they? Yeah. We're looking at you. We're looking at you. Shh. Ooh, thank you. So, since I'm still so new to Millersville University, I think I haven't quite earned the privilege of telling Rita stories quite yet. So that's why I have Diane up here with me. And we're very happy that she's here, and I think Rita is particularly happy to see her. So what I'd like to say is going to be very quick, and it's really from my personal perspective, not so much as an administrator. So I've been here since July, and somewhere in maybe the third, fourth week or so, as you can imagine, the culture shock suddenly hit me, and things were kind of like making sense, but not entirely, and the frustration starts accumulating, and all of a sudden, without, of course, any appointments or announcements, Rita comes into my office. And we spent about an hour talking about all sorts of things, right? I think we go from the future of African American studies to ethnicity throughout history, ethnic identity throughout ages. And as she's leaving, it suddenly hits me, 2 lessons. Number one, you haven't really been at Millersville until you've met Rita. She's the soul of this place, right? I think so. And lesson number 2, it's all gonna be okay. When you meet Rita and she talks to you, you get this sense and assuredness, right? It's all gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay, you're gonna be okay, we'll be fine. So thank you so much for that. I think every one of us whose lives you've touched, you've made us feel like it's gonna work out for us. Thank you so much.
Rita, you've been a colleague of mine from the very beginning of my time here at Millersville. And like someone else said, when I first met you, I was totally impressed and maybe just a little frightened. But you've taught me a couple of things. There's no one like Rita for building coalitions, for identifying partners, for finding multiple sources of funding and support to help make things happen. Rita was masterful at knitting together people and resources and constituencies and helping to make things happen. And the culture and the climate of Millersville was always benefited by her masterful knitting. Rita was never afraid to speak out or to speak up, both on campus and in community. And so she was a role model for many of us. And she has left us a legacy of leaders, of student organizations, and student programs. But on a personal note, I have to say that one of the things that was most helpful to me as a young professor coming to Millersville, as a mother of young children, was to know that there was one other mother of young children here on campus who was unafraid to bring her kids with her, to have them here with her. And it gave many of us, I think, who were parents of young children at that point in our careers, some 25, 30 years ago, an opportunity as a role model. So on a personal level, Rita, thank you. Thanks for being the mom that you were and inspiring us. Thank you for your ever-abiding commitment to students. I knew that there was never a question that when you were asking for something or advocating for something, that at the foundation it was about students and about developing students. And that was a model for us and an inspiration for all of us who've worked for you. Thank you.
Okay, where's Corey at? Corey? Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay. Another one of these ones that I've known since childhood, graduated when I was in middle school, all around good dude, and is now sometimes, you graduate from Millersville, you take a couple of Rita classes, you do all right. My man here is, let me know if I get this wrong, VP External Affairs, United Healthcare? External Affairs, there it is, yep. So he did all right. Please, Corey Coleman, come speak your piece. Thank you.
He grew up since the college days. Let me adjust this microphone. First of all, let me, on a personal note, thank you, Rita, for everything you've done for me personally and for all the students here. Let me, just by show of hands, two things. I know everybody's kind of chatting here. Thank you. So, I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and a number of our members are here today, and Dr. Rita Smith Waddell played a major role in advising the Alphas as well as the Sigmas. So if the Alphas in the house can just raise your hands just as a show of respect to show you the support. And for all of the students here who have had Dr. Rita Smith Waddell, just put your hands up for one moment. I want Rita to see everybody that she's made an impact on. I want to tell a very quick story before I let a couple of other speakers come up. When I was 10 years old, I met a woman at Prince Hall Elementary School who I didn't really know who she was. And she took a liking to me and she said, "I see something in you, and I want you to pursue your dreams and never give up." Now, it wasn't until a little later, probably when I was about 10 or 12, that I realized who this woman was. It was Shirley Chisholm, who, for folks who don't know, was the first woman to run for president and first African American. And does anybody know her campaign slogan? It was unbought and unbossed. 10 years later, at the age of 20, I meet another young woman who saw something in me and also had a campaign that said, "I am unbought and unbossed." And the one thing I can tell you is that for all the students who have had Dr. Rita Smith Waddell, you know that she's a fierce learner, she's a fierce teacher, and a fierce advocate for the African American community and communities at large. The one thing I do want to say is I'm so pleased that so many people came out and just the show of love for this woman who has poured so much of herself into all of us. It's an honor for me to be able to come here and speak. It's a little difficult, but the great thing is that I'm reminded, when I was 22 years old, I lost my mom at 22. And I thought about the fact that there were so many things I didn't get a chance to say and didn't get a chance to say anything to provide her the just insight of how much she meant to me. And I think the great thing about this event and the speakers that came before Dr. Rita Smith Waddell is that we're able to share and thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for your spirit, and thank you for everything you've done for Millersville University. Thank you.
So, if you happen to see me out in the world sometime, just sometime in the future, you're going to want to ask me about a story about my mother, our next speaker, and the New York subway. I'll let him decide if he wants to speak on that in particular. But our next speaker is Dr. Vilas Prabhu, our provost here at, come on, the provost here at Millersville University, and someone I consider a personal and family friend.
Okay out there. Quiet. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are all gathered here today to celebrate Dr. Rita Smith Waddell, AKA Rita. Sister Rita has touched each of our lives in different ways. There are very few individuals in one's lifetime who we admire and look up to, not because they are powerful, influential, or wealthy, but because the principles and values they espouse and the differences they make in others' lives. Sister Rita is one such person for me. My very first interaction with Rita was 14 years ago when I served with her on the President's Commission on Cultural Diversity. And as far as I can remember, that's the only meeting that I did not get a chance to speak for 90 minutes. Generally, my staff and friends accuse me of doing that. So I know at that time that I met my match. During these past 14 years, my observations of Rita can be summarized as follows. She's always advocating for her students. It's never about her. It's never about her. She's direct, unapologetic about her advocacy for students who are most likely to suffer inequities and discrimination. She has very little use for rules and bureaucratic procedures that she feels are a hindrance for her students to access opportunities. She's very persistent. It is almost impossible to say no to Rita. Case in point, on a trip to New York City several years ago with Rita, she actually asked me to hold up a subway train, which I did. And almost got arrested. You know, he's given me 2 minutes, otherwise I'll tell you the whole story. But you need to ask Rita for the rest of the story. But she did that. She made me stop the train. Actually, I was holding up the door. And there were at least 5 announcements saying, "Get off the door, we'll get you." But we didn't. But she asked me to do that for a reason. Ask her that sometimes. It was about another person who was going to be left there by alone on the station, so I was holding up the train. So what greater sacrifice can a brother make for a sister? Well, Sister Rita, you're a beautiful human being. Thank you for being a great teacher, scholar, a role model, and a champion for equity and social justice at Millersville and in our community. You have left an indelible mark on all of us who have crossed your path, especially your students. Godspeed. Thank you.
All right. Okay, here we go. So a few minutes ago, I asked you, so I'll just remind you again, keep it to a dull roar. There's some good stuff being said up here. And again, on that subject, we have a couple of, we'll call them slide-in additions to the program, but they are no less important and no less wonderful people than the people you already see on your program. And, you know, again, another person I've known since I was a child, or who has known me since I was a child, a personal family friend, and someone else who knows what it means to be a Steelers fan out here in Eagles country. I would like to welcome Millersville University President Emerita, Dr. Francine McNary, to the podium.
This is about Dr. Rita Smith Waddell. I want to echo all of the marvelous things that have been expressed about this amazing, brilliant scholar, teacher, spirit, sister, mother, friend today. So I say ditto to everything that's been said. I am honored to be asked to share a few remarks, but I need to share from another perspective. When I came to Millersville, I was here because I was so impressed with the range of programs that celebrated African American culture at this institution. I came from Westchester and then to Clarion University, and no one in the state system could begin to compare to the programs that were offered here. I soon learned that that was because of Dr. Rita Smith Waddell. So a year and a half later, we happened to be together on a brief vacation in Aruba. And I'm trying to lose weight, as I always am. And Rita's trying to lose weight. So we go down to the fitness room in the hotel. I'm on the treadmill trying to go forward. Next to me is Rita on the treadmill reading her Bible and doing her rotary beads. How do you do all of that at one time? I got dizzy. I got off the treadmill. But that's just an example of the multiple roles that Dr. Rita Smith Waddell has played not only at this university, but in this community. And I've come to learn that Rita does not sleep because she's all day at the university, then she's at her church, and then she's in a play that she's practicing for, and then she's in the community doing community service. So I have learned that not only do you multitask, you don't sleep. You are the ever-running energy bunny. But what is she really about? And that is her brilliance. Her brilliance, her mind, her ability to look at issues and put them in a context so that all of us, regardless of our maturity, our seniority, our youthfulness, can understand. And I thank you for something in particular. After my first year as president, we had this annual student research conference. And I observed that there were no students of color who were presenting. And Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell was there, and she observed the same thing. The very next year, her students who were either in her psychology classes or in her African American studies classes all presented at that conference. That's important. That's important. And she mentored them. She spent time with them so that they could clearly articulate their research, their hypothesis, their process, and their findings. That is no easy task. And she's preparing them to pursue advanced study, but also to communicate to an audience. So I want to say to you and to this gathering, which speaks volumes about what we think and who we think of you, I want to say to you, thank you. Thank you for being our sunshine. Thank you for being our scholar. Thank you for being our shero. Thank you for being the persistent one who did not accept no for an answer, because I know. No is not in her vocabulary. Thank you for being you and for making Millersville University the amazing institution it is because of what you have given to it. Thank you.
So in my household, we are eighth generation Catholics. And I'm just reminded of this because Dr. McNary brought up Mother running on the treadmill and reading her Bible at the same time. I'm always reminded of my mother's unique mothering style, which involved a lot of truth-telling. So some of you have heard me tell this story before. At one point, I was just having a particularly rough day. I was down on myself, and so I go to my mother, who is sitting on the couch reading her Bible, and I say, "What's wrong with me?" And without looking up from her Bible, she says, "Probably some combination of genes and environment." But it is as Dr. McNary said, no was not in my mother's vocabulary. She never took no for an answer, and as a matter of fact, she never gave it. I have seen her give people her money, her time, her clothes. I have seen her stay up with students all night in our living room when I was a child. They would come over at 6 p.m. to be working on a research project, and I would wake up at 7 a.m. the next morning to go off to school, and there she was, still working with them on the research project. No matter what you needed, no matter what was wrong, if you needed a place to stay, there was always a place in her house. And she has given all of us, and in particular me, a powerful example to look up to. On that subject of powerful examples to look up to, there's a man in the room who, since being Mom's student, has been elected state representative for the 186th State House District in Philadelphia. Did I get that right? And that man has championed social justice, civil rights, second chances, and a fair shake for every one of his constituents and every resident of the state of Pennsylvania. And he has taught me so much of what I know it is to be a man, to be a black man, and to be an elected official. I am honored to introduce the Honorable Jordan Harris, alumni 06 and Millersville University trustee.
Hey, Rita. How's everybody doing? Oh, this is a celebration. We got to do better than that. Look, I grew up in a black church, and I'm a former school teacher, so I need a little help. How's everybody doing? All right. As said, I'm State Representative Jordan Harris, and it is my honor and privilege to be here. Let me start by saying that I love Dr. Rita Smith Waddell. And I wanted to make sure I was going to cancel anything that I had to make sure that I was here, because I wanted her to know, and I know she knows, but I wanted her to know, and I wanted everybody to know how much Rita has meant not only to me, but to the community at large. I came to Millersville in 2002 through the PACE Act 101 program. That's right, that's all those PACE students right there, that's right. Yeah. And I remember I met this gentleman, because in PACE you had a lot of African American and Hispanic students, and you felt at home. And the first day, there's a guy named Joe Sharetta who told me, don't get comfortable, because when the fall starts, it's going to be mighty white. That's what Joe said. People laughing because they know Joe really said that. So being from South Philadelphia in an urban area, it was a shock to me. But people always told me that there was this woman that you needed to meet. And you know, some people in our lives and in this country, in this world, you know by one name: Madonna, Oprah, Obama, and then there's Rita. If you're on this campus and they say the name Rita, you know exactly who they're talking about. So I met Rita, and I became an African American Studies minor. My major was with government political affairs. But Rita, beyond being a professor and a good professor, Rita instilled something in me that I have never forgotten. And I want you to know this. Whenever you see anything that I do in the State House that's for people of color, know that it was because you taught me how to be unapologetically black, and how to be unapologetic about addressing an agenda for marginalized people, for people who don't come from the best means. And I know that there are many people around this room who are now teachers and psychologists and government workers, and they're doing a lot of things, and they're doing it because you instilled in them those same principles. So this is not a celebration about just today, but your lineage and your legacy will live on for many generations because of all of the young people who you have inspired. I will say this. Rita's the only person who can call me and never leave a voicemail. I look at my file, I listen to my voicemail like, Jordan, this is Rita, call me. And I'm like, okay. And there's very few people who can just tell me to do something without asking. Like Rita will call me and be like, yeah, I need you to be here, I need you to call this person, and I need you to do this. And it wasn't like, maybe I'll think about it. It was like, I need you to do this. Okay, bye-bye. So I have a couple things that I have to officially do. So the first is, in honor of your birthday, we have a citation here from the Pennsylvania House of Representatives that honors you for your life, your legacy, and all of the things that you have done to better this Commonwealth and all of our Commonwealth students. But beyond that, there's one thing that we can do as elected officials in the state government that is the highest honor that you can give a person. So on September the 13th, I ordered the state police to fly this Pennsylvania flag over the Capitol in honor of Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell and all of the things that she has meant to not just this university, but to this Commonwealth. It is the highest honor we can give any citizen in our Commonwealth, and that honor was given to you at 12:04 on September 13th. We love you. And the last thing I will say, and Rita knows this, but I'll make this official. On Wednesday, at our public meeting, I am a member of the Council of Trustees here, so on Wednesday, at our public meeting of the Council of Trustees at Millersville University, we will vote to rename the Intercultural Center the Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell Intercultural Center in your honor. So in closing, I'll finish where I began. And that's simply saying that, Rita, I love you for everything that you've meant to me, but to the multitude of young people that you've inspired and the multitudes of generations that they will inspire. The only thing that matters in our lives is what do we do for others. And in this life, it is clear that you have used all of your God-given talent to bless others. I love you, and God bless you.
I'm just letting her enjoy the moment. We'll be right with you. So, like I said, we were an 8th generation Catholic household. And living in our household meant being a very specific kind of Catholic and a very specific kind of Christian. In terms of what that meant as far as our relationship to time and money and goodwill and what should be done with it, in terms of advocating for people who might have less than you, in terms of feeding the sick, giving water to the thirsty, and feeding the hungry at a time when somehow this is controversial in our country if those people are crossing the border. I promise you, if you gave a politician a microphone, you'd get a political speech. They also say that if you give a preacher a microphone, you will get a sermon. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome just such a man who has been a pillar of this community, the Reverend Dr. Louis Butcher, to the podium. As he's making his way up, I will remind you that we're going to close the bids at 6:15, so please make your way back there.
Where's the mic? God bless you. If it was a different setting, I would say, let the church say amen. All right. Just want you to know that when Doc first came to Lancaster, she came to my office to introduce herself, and where my desk was sitting, there was only a small space for me to get out around my desk. But she stood there in the space and put her arm on the wall so I couldn't get out, and she told me everything that was on her mind. And over the years, when I thought I had opinions on things, she often changed my opinions to suit the situation. She's been a great inspiration, not only to young people here at Millersville, but to young people throughout Lancaster. She's been a great blessing to the Brightside Church and the Brightside Opportunity Center. She's been an inspiration to my family, and I thank God that she has come to this community and shared her gifts and has changed the lives of so many. We love you, Doc. God bless you. Keep on pushing. God bless.
So, as we are winding towards the close of our program this evening, again, yes, seeing a lot of you back there at the auction table, really appreciate that. So, finally, and later we're going to have an open mic and a reminder that you do have that opportunity. But first, want to remind you that this is closing at 6:15. And there's just a few items that have not yet reached minimum bid. And if you'd like them, if you'd like to take them home, you can go ahead and take them for minimum bid. Just fill out the paper there. So now, you know, there's a number of different ways to honor Rita, and our lifetime family friend, Marie Linares, will now perform a liturgical dance to one of my mother's favorite songs. Thank you, Marie. Oh, yeah, please.
Before I begin, like many people have said, I frequently have gone to, I call her my rational friend. When I need to have someone to give me clarity, I frequently would go to Rita. This particular day, I had gone to her, and the realization of a denial that I had experienced had broken. And this time, instead of getting the professor, I got a music therapist. And instead of giving me words, as she frequently did, this time it came in a song. Some of you will know this song. For those who don't, listen to the words because they are very powerful and meaningful. But for those who do, please feel free to sing along and move with me as we honor and give a dance tribute to Rita.
When you've done all you can, and it seems like it's never enough. just stand and watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after you've done all you can, you just stand. Tell me, how do you handle the guilt of your past? Tell me, how do you deal with the shame? And how can you smile while your heart has been broken and filled with pain, filled with pain? Tell me, what do you get when you're giving your all? Yeah. Seems like you can't make it through. Child, you stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand. Watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after you've done all you can, you just stand and be sure. Be not entangled in that bondage again. You just stand. God has a purpose. Yes, God has a plan. Tell me, what do you do when you've done all you can, and it seems like you can't make it through? Child, you just stand. You just stand. Stand. You stand. Through the storm, stand through the rain, through the hurt, through the pain. Don't you after you've done all you can. After you've done all you can. After you've gone through the after you've gone through the pain, oh my. After you've gone through the storms, after you've gone through the rain. After you've done all you can, you just stand.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, okay, the microphone is still on. Good. So, this is your last chance. I see a lot of you are already back there. Once we're done there, we're going to go ahead and be closing the auction. want to go ahead and thank you to everybody who has bid on these items. I think you know quite intimately how significant Dr. Rita Smith Waddell's legacy is and will be, and that will be a part of it. Want to give a special thank you to Sandy Brown, who even right now is back there organizing and making all that happen. Couldn't have done it without her. Dr. Teresa Russell-Loretz, Dr. Tracy Wise, Dr. Barbara Stengel, Ray Colbreth, and many others who came together with our family to help plan this event. In addition, I want to thank the unnamed benefactor who thought that this event was worthy enough to provide all of the food and drink gratis to us tonight and made that possible. Did I not say Dr. Tracy Wise? Oh my God, Dr. Tracy Wise. Not just for her help with this event, but Dr. Tracy lives right across the street and has been available to help my mother any time of the day and night. What? Yes, I can hear you. Oh, quick, we gotta bring you up. Do we have a handheld mic? Does anybody? No. Is there isn't by chance a handheld mic? Is there? Oh, yes, okay, we're making it happen. It turns out the doctor is in, and she would like to say a few words. There we go.
Just very short, which is unusual for me, I want to thank everybody who has made this event possible. I think you forgot Monica. But it's a lot of people to thank. But most of all, I want to thank Millersville, because Millersville allowed me to do the things I wanted to do. They talk about the things I do, but Dr. Pravu, Dr. McNary, my department allowed for me to do the things I wanted to do. If I came up with an idea, they were willing to support it financially and otherwise. So I want to thank Millersville for allowing me to do what I did. Thank you very much.
Oh. Thanks, Mom. So once I the mic, we will have some time for open mic for those people who want to read or give other tributes who weren't on the program. Those are going to be limited to 2 minutes at a time. Dr. Russell-Loretz has a shepherd's crook, and she'll pull you off stage if need be. Old school, you know how we do it. So I've kept it to jokes mostly while I've been up here, but if you'll allow me a moment to become more serious. We have a lot of what anthropologists call fictive kin in my family, and I always felt like that was kind of a judgment as to what made your kin fictional or not. But all of the family that I have in this room has been very, very real to me. But it turns out that, that in this world, you only ever have, I'm okay. You only ever have one mother. And I'm not gonna stand up here and cry for 10 minutes, just while I have what seems like the whole world here. I just want to say, Mom, that I'm glad it was you. Thank you. So if anybody else would like to come up and speak, now's your time. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Troya Butcher. You saw my father. I met Rita over 30 years ago, so she loves to tell that story. I met her when I was about 15, 16 years old, and she was a force of Lancaster. And I actually had a class for her, and I told a story, Rita. You weren't there for the Black History program. I remember when I was a freshman at Millersville, I thought I was, smart, brilliant, the best and baddest thing on campus. She made sure to tell me that I wasn't, and her exact words were, "You're not that smart." 17, 18-year-old Troya was very offended by that. But it wasn't until I went back to school that I understood what she meant. She was trying to make me a better person and make me a better student. And when I went back to school, not only did I graduate with honors from another school, but then I went on to get my master's and pursuing my doctorate, and it was because Rita told me I wasn't that smart. So I was determined to prove her wrong. And I did when I walked across the stage and they said, "Cum laude." I said, "There you go, Rita." I am smart. But I could not say, "Rita, I love you with everything in me." You are so important to a lot of us in Lancaster. All of us that came in pace from Lancaster, you made it happen. When we didn't have it, you made it happen. And I appreciate what you put in me, because like the Honorable Mr. Jordan said, your legacy is going to go further than this. And I just really, really appreciate you. I love you, love you, love you so very much. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. My name is Christine. My last name is Clark Evans, and I've known Rita Smith since I just turned 17 years old, and I have grandchildren who are 15 and 13. But I wanted to say I'm pleased, I am proud, and I am honored to join the Millersville community to celebrate the life and work of Rita Smith. And at the end of this few seconds, I'm going to ask you to think, what did Rita Smith want to be when she was that age? But I wanted to say that she represents someone who does community. Rita Smith does community. And she has been a leader. She has been a scholar in learning theory, in psychology of race, gender, and inclusion, in working people, participating. And her father and my father were both Teamsters. And we honor our working class roots, and we respect having the opportunity to contribute to academic, political, and community work. And what did she want to be when she first entered college, when we were together? Dr. Rita Smith Wade L., Professor Emerita now, wanted to be an astronaut. Thank you. Hello. I had the pleasure of being a student of Rita's for, I'm gonna try to, for 5 years. And I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a social worker, I'm a homemaker, and I have 4 kids. When I had African American Studies class, Rita used to embarrass us. She used to embarrass us so bad when we didn't know our history. She used to be like, how y'all don't know your history? How y'all don't know Frederick Douglass and Fannie Lou Hamer and all these different people? And I used to think to myself, how come I don't know these things? And I used to be so hurt. And we studied and we worked hard. But it left such an imprint on me that my kids now are 4 years old, 3 years old, 2 years old, and they know who Fannie Lou Hamer is. They know who Frederick Douglass is. It literally shaped the course of me and my husband's life. We go out of our way to be in the African American community. We go out of our way to pick African American books with faces that look like our children on it because of this lady, because she made it her business to teach us our history and make such an impact on me that it's gonna go for generations and generations. My kids are never gonna know who this woman is, but she shaped the course of my life. And I just wanna say to Rita, thank you, and I love you so much. Thank you.
Dr. Rita, I'd like to thank you for bringing in those guest speakers, such as Mr. Greg Mathis, MC Light, the Reverend Jackson, and many more. You made a tremendous impact on the campus, in this community, on the earth. Your legacy is always going to be remembered. I remember when I first met you 7 years ago, you gave the story to people about how you went through education, sent Izzy to boarding school. But you told the people who are struggling that you have to see a brighter future by making a good present. And I'd like to thank you very much for, making an impact in my life, as I'll continue to give back to the people in my community. But once I graduate from here, I'm gonna pay it forward, and I'm gonna pay it back. Thank you.
So I want to just say one or two quick things about Rita. So I'm probably the only former student, and I don't know that there are any former students for Rita. I think once you're a student, Rita will continue to tell you exactly what you need to do. But as a police officer, and also as a son of a deacon, one of the things that I always thought was unique with Rita was that she reached across the table. And I think it's unique that she sat, or Reverend Butcher sat with her, with all the other pastors that are here, and also being a Catholic, her own Catholic faith. But what I primarily want to thank Rita for, and also her friend Betty Finney, who passed away a few years ago, is she's one of 4 women who pushed me to go back to school. So my mother, my wife who's over here, Lizette, Rita, and Betty Finney, the 4 of them decided they were going to get behind pushing me back. But Rita was probably the most tenacious. So anybody who's seen her car, she has a car that has a vanity plate. I think it would probably be the highest auction item here, the Wild Woman. So she took it upon herself as I was on a traffic stop in Lancaster to stop as well, right behind the police officer, and start saying, Pete, you need to get back in school, and tell me about idle time, as the group that I had stopped from Jamaica, Queens is saying, who is this African-American woman that is yelling at this white police officer? So needless to say, like Representative Harris, I said, yes, Rita, I will. And the next day I came into her class about halfway in, and I said, hi, Rita, in uniform. I said, I'm here. And she said, you're interrupting my class. So with that, continued a relationship, but I would not be back here if I did not get my degree as a police chief. So Rita, thank you. And by the way, very personally, you did really, really well with your children. So kudos to you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Umar Johnson, and I was one of Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell's psychology students. She was my undergraduate professor and advisor, and without her letters, I wouldn't have got into graduate school. So I just want to say on behalf of myself and all the students from the class of 1997 and 2000, I can't thank you enough, Rita. Thank you for teaching me dedication, perseverance, and self-confidence. There's not enough words in the English vernacular to appropriately describe what you meant to me and all the other psychologists out there who came through Millersville University. But I just say thank you because God can tell you much better than I can. I love you, Rita. God bless you.
She said, just because you become a young man now, there's still some things that you don't understand now. Before you ask some girl for a hand now, keep your freedom for as long as you can now. My mama told me.
Hello, Rita. Hello, everyone. Come on up. Come on up. Yes, I'm calling you out. Come up. Come up. Rita, you have many students here that want to stand up at this podium and talk to you about how much of an impression you made on us. Rita, you are the first African-American woman that I know that had a doctorate. And I can absolutely tell you that you have impacted so many of us to continue on our education and get our doctorates.
Yes. Go ahead. You too, right? I'm sure you all remember one of these famous Rita quotes, "You can't see your way through Millersville." And she would always tell us that to make sure that we maintain more than a C average. And she would say that if you get off that instant messenger, we're telling our ages now, but if you get off that instant messenger and get your work done, you'd be better off. So thank you, Rita, for all of the wisdom that you've bestowed upon us.
I want to thank you. I consider you to be a Millersville legend. I want to thank you for inspiring me to continue my education and to also become a doctor of counseling psychology. I love you, Rita, and I'm so blessed to have you in my memories, and you will always be a Millersville legend to me. Thank you.
Rita.
Excuse me, can I have everybody's attention, please? Hey, Rita. Once again, can I please have everyone's attention, please? Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes. Can I have any former BSU or NAACP members join us on stage, please? Really quickly. I let us this far. Okay. Where do I? On behalf of. Okay. Well, I need Rita's attention. Rita. Hello. Hello. Hey, Rita. Hey. Okay, so on behalf of former BSU, NAACP, and just students of color that you supported throughout the years at Millersville, Rita, We just want to say thank you for all the things that you've done for us. Thank you for creating a space for us to celebrate our identity. Thank you for all the A's you've given us to make sure we pass and graduate from Millersville University. We really appreciate it. Thank you for all the recommendation letters. You are the best. We love you. You'll always be in our hearts forever. And today is all about you. We celebrate you. We love you, Rita. Hello. Goodbye.
Well, excuse me, everyone. My name is William Gillis II, and I have to truly say thank you to Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell, because 12 years ago, she took me into her home at a time when I truly was homeless. I didn't have a car, my parents were divorced, and did not have any homes. And she welcomed me in and graced me with allowing to reside in her home for near on a decade, and I broke that contract, which was only supposed to be 6 months. But I have to thank you, Rita, because I love you. I've known you since I was 15 years old. That's the reason why, like I have to say, like my uncle loves calling you, your mama too. I love you.
There's too many of you crying. Brother, 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 there's far too many